All right, folks, let's get started. My name is Paul Krofsik with Digital Watchdog. I'm the Director of Education Programs, and I'm here to talk to you about our new products, some features we've added to certain products. Some of you guys are very familiar with our different product lines. If you're not, if you're new to us, by all means, send a request. We have items on our website we can help you with, point you to train you. We also have sales reps all over the country who can contact you and help train you and give you more information on Digital Watchdog products. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Digital Watchdog itself and some information about the company. Come here, you. Change. There we go. Sorry. So first off, Digital Watchdog is in full operation around the world. Okay, we have 3 factories, South Korea, Vietnam, and we're all fully operational. Both our offices in California and Florida are fully staffed. We haven't laid off or furloughed anybody. For your guys, tech support is running its regular hours, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, of course, the folks on the East Coast get a little longer tech support than the West Coast folks. And our inventory and supply chain is unaffected. Most SKUs I'm ready to ship. And the SKUs that are not there are like some brackets and stuff like that, but our major line gear like cameras, recorders, all that stuff is in stock and can be shipped out. And it is being shipped out to the different distributors around the country. So I just want to let you guys update you. And if we did have to reduce staff or whatever, this is when we would tell you. You know, we say, oh, have to shorten our hours or do this. We haven't had to do that. We've actually tried to still maintain a safe work environment by having many employees work from home. We have a very good telecommunication system in our company, so they can work from home just like they would at the office. Sorry, I got something in my throat all of a sudden, so I'll just press on. So first thing we're going to talk is about our Megapix IP cameras. All right, so these IP cameras, first off, we're releasing some new models, but also we're going to a new color scheme, and you'll see these begin to trickle into the distributors, and you'll see it's a white, some people call it decor white or appliance white, and it's better to match ceiling tiles, stuff like that. We've gotten a few requests, and so we're transitioning our products, including all the brackets, over to this new color scheme. So, sorry guys. So our Megapix cameras are transitioning over to, and you're already seeing them at the distributors and on our website, to Starlight Plus, which is our enhanced color and near total darkness technology. We actually will be doing a webinar in the near future on this particular subject. So look at our webinar page, and we're going to have a camera. We have it's called Digital Watchdog camera set up, and that's one of the subjects that'll be on it. We're going to triple codec, so you'll see H.265, H.264, and believe it or not, still motion JPEG, because some products that we want to do integrations with, and we have integrations with, are actually looking for an MJPEG stream, so we have that in there. True WDR, okay, so true wide dynamic range. On our outdoor cameras, many of them are -40 cold start. So again, you folks that live up in Montana and Alaska and places like that, in the northern part of Michigan there, leave these in your truck. Customer has a problem with the camera on the site, you're able to replace it for them, and even if they're super cold, they'll be able to, they'll be able to function. Of course, our 5-year warranty, universal plug and play, and as I said, we're releasing 4K cameras, but we have 5 megapixel, 4 megapixel, 2.1 megapixel 1080p cameras, all PoE, and of course, designed to work best with our Spectrum software, but work well with anyone else's VMS or recorder. So this is the first of our 4K cameras we released. We're going to have at least 5 more models, and then a few ones after that. This is a varifocal 3.6 to 10 millimeter varifocal P-iris lens. It's a true wide dynamic range. It's got a backlight compensation in it, 70-foot IR, and it has our clean view technology on the dome, which means if rain, snow, whatever gets on it, when it begins to melt and run off, it doesn't leave residue on the lens, so it makes the dome camera operate much more efficiently and clearer, and especially when you turn on the IRs and stuff like that. So again, 4K technology, and we're going to have, I think it's in 2 weeks. Again, we're going to go through I have a list of the webinars. I'm not sure the days, but we're going to have a webinar specifically on 4K cameras, setting it up in the very near future. We're also releasing 4K 8-megapixel PTZ camera with a 30x PTZ. It is has a 1,000-foot IR minimum in it, and it is just a really fast, well-designed PTZ camera. Triple codec. If you're looking at here at the little video in the corner, that's actually our 2-megapixel whipping around with the IRs running on it, and it's just same body design, very fast camera. We really like, just even using it, going in and playing with our demo system. Same thing. We're going to have a 3-megapixel 36x optical zoom with, again, the super powerful IR on it, and again, playing around with one of these, setting them up. Customers like them. They've been a very, very good seller for it. As you can see that little circle on it? That's the real powerful IR. That's just zooming in on whatever object you point the camera to. So one of my favorite cameras is our camera systems is our Digital Watchdog Megapix CAS cameras. So this is an all-in-one camera system, okay? Meaning it's got obviously the lens and the imager in it. It's got the storage on it, and it also integrates Digital Watchdog IPVMS built into the camera. All right. We've also added a new storage tier. We used to be 64, 128. Now we've got 256 gig in the camera, and all these cameras are UL listed. All right. We have a fisheye version. We have dome cameras. We have varifocals. We also have a new bullet camera. So we have a bullet camera that's 2.8 to 12 millimeter with a 50-foot IR, and a 6 to 50 millimeter with a 100-foot IR. So again, you take these cameras, you take 10 of them in a system if you got the 256 gigs of storage in it, and you've got 2.5 terabytes of storage for a system. So you can get a full 30 days out of these cameras at a good frame rate. So how these cameras work is we do what's called a merge when we have multi-server, and you have to think of each camera as a server, okay? And when you merge them together, they become a system, all right? And these things, up to 30 of these, can be linked into one system and then linked into the cloud for user and system management. We have a whole DW cloud. Again, those of you guys are familiar with DW Spectrum know and has probably used our DW cloud and know it doesn't require port forwarding, and we use email addresses for the username and passwords, and it's just very easy to manage either in the client or through your cloud web page. So when you think of each camera, you think of it as a server, and you merge them and you think of them as a system. Each camera, so you can do a one camera installation, and it gives them all the features of Digital Watchdog Spectrum. And if you log into one, you would know if you were logging into a Spectrum server. So in this case over here, we're logging into an LPR camera. I'm just going to do the smart search. We're going to highlight an area. It's going to bring up instantly all your motion events. And then car's going to go by. We're going to sit here and pause it. And then we got the car in the shadow a little bit, but we're going to zoom in and we can see the license plate. Back it up one frame so you can get a little better shot of that. All right, so it works with our LPR cameras, works with our fisheye cameras. Also, all the functionality of the way Spectrum works as far as its zoom windows. So you can go in and create just multiple zoom windows, move them around. If you want to get a better view, back of the car, front of the car, whatever you want to do. If you have multi-cameras, you can do multi-view. It's just every single feature you want to work with in Spectrum is in there. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about new features. Okay. And we have a couple new features that are kind of hidden in the mobile client and the desktop client you guys may not have seen yet. And so the first one is system search. And so system search, if there's 8 or more system tiles, either on the desktop or the mobile client, you can now search for them in the search bar. So I can go in and type in cube here. I'll go in and anything that has the name cube in it will come up, or I can put in just 10, which is part of an IP address, or I can put in a name or whatever, and it'll search through and bring it up. So it makes it just easier to manage, especially in a phone where you just have a long list of sites on there. So the other thing is soft triggers. Now you guys are, I don't know if everyone's familiar with soft triggers, but soft triggers are icons you can put on your desktop software assigned to the camera window, all right, or on, in the case of this, on the mobile client itself, and they'll be at the bottom. What it is they're sorting them now alphabetically, so they're easier to find. So let's say you wanted to open the front door, open the back door, you can name them, you know, front door, and that soft trigger will then trigger the mag lock and unlock the door, or back door, or you have a garage door you link to this, it can open and close the garage door, all from these soft triggers, and you can name them alphabetically. Again, just making them easier to find. We've also have our smart search on here, and the ability to zoom in and out of the timeline much faster. And again, I'm sure you guys have probably seen some of these or used them and didn't realize they've been changed that dramatically. That search function, because you can search on anything, you can search on the person who shared the site with you, or IP address, or name, you know, makes it much easier to find sites, especially when you're dealing with a large number of sites. You can also, if you have audio in the cameras or audio assigned to them, you can disable the audio. We have a new lockout feature. So this way, if someone comes in, logs in 4 or 5 more times without the password, they'll get and be blocked at least for a minute, okay, before they're allowed to try again and put in the wrong password. Because after about 5 times, you know, I think you got to reset your password. And what's nice about the Spectrum and the DW Cloud, you can reset your password in the cloud from the app. Okay, so there's very little reason for someone to call you up and say, hey, I forgot my password. But if they do, you can direct them to the spot on the app and say, forgot password. It'll take them to a web page. They'll put in a little bit of information and they'll get an email, which will allow them to reset their password. Also, client server time. It's the ability to switch between server and client time mode during playback. Again, you know, I would just keep it on server time, even if it's in a different time zone than your client, just because it's just easier to find stuff. Someone said something happened at 2 p.m. Go find it easier at 2 p.m. their time. Also, time unification format. If your device, whether it's an Android, whether it's Windows, whether it's iOS, it'll now reflect the time format in the device, okay? Also, soft triggers. Some soft triggers, maybe you're not allowed to open the door till 7 a.m. at a location. The soft trigger won't work until 7 a.m. Comes by. And then we have our virtual camera. We put in no live stream in place over on the virtual camera when viewing in live mode. For those of you who don't know what a virtual camera is video footage that was not recorded by Spectrum, but was recorded by other devices like body cams, drones, dash cams, and you can actually import these into Spectrum, and they become a searchable archive in Spectrum, whether you're on your mobile client or your desktop PC. So what that means is a municipality that might have dash cams on some vehicles, body cams on police officers, maybe they're using drones for surveillance or you know, looking at places to expand a park and use a drone to give them a top-down view of it. They can now take that video footage and import it all into Spectrum, and this way then they can search all their video that's available to them for either, whether it's looking at criminal activity or just, you know, movements of people around the town. They can go and look at all their video in one place, search for it in one place, making stuff a lot easier. So we just added, so we used to say no data, now we've added just no live stream, just because it's easier to, a softer way of saying there's nothing there for you to see unless you go to playback. So on the desktop application, the notification panel has changed, okay? So now includes quick tabs for notification, bookmarks, events, and you can search on each one as a respective tab, okay? The resource panel has the keyword search, and you can search by keywords for web pages, users, layouts, show reels, the video walls, all the different things you'd search on. They've sped up the search, so if you have a lot of local files, like I have a lot of local files on my desktop, I go in and I type in, let's say I have the event car accident or something like that, I type in car. It is now just much, it's instantaneous. So before it used to churn a little bit. They've improved the database and how it, also how the software just talks to Windows 10 on the search. Also, added a device dialog to ability to assign specific devices in a multi-server system. So now your add device menu looks like this. You can say, okay, I've got this camera at a remote site that's a different IP. I'm going to put it on DW Cerrito server 2, and then I'm going to put this different IP, its username and password, and then I'm going to add it to the system. First, it has to go out and actually find it, all right? And then you can go in and do it. Same thing on the desktop application. We have a new system search, okay? So 8 or more devices, system tiles can be filtered by system name, owner account, server address, and the same login, lockout, and disable of audio is on the desktop as on the remote client. So another piece of software Digital Watchdog has is our C3 CMS. And this is designed for our A1, A1 Plus product. And what we've done with this one is we released a Mac OS version, downloadable today. You go to the C3 part on our website. I'm actually going to walk through parts of our website with you guys. So we'll be, if you want, I'll head over to the C3 side, but I just download the Mac version today. I am not super Mac savvy. I know that they have Mojave, Catalina, different OSs. I know it works with the latest 2 OSs, so I think it's Mojave, Catalina, or Catalina, Mojave. There might be another one, but I'm not as Mac savvy as some people today, but it's downloadable and usable today. It's designed to work with our A1s, A1 Plus, and IP Plus products. So by all means, you have a customer looking for Apple versions of their software, we have it for the C3, and we've always had it for Spectrum. Okay, so if you ever have that customer says, we don't have any Windows stuff, we don't have any Windows stuff on our network, we want to view video from there, the user experience, whether it's the Spectrum software or the C3, is identical between Windows and the Apple computer. So there's no retraining them because there are quirks we have to work around with the Apple OS or anything. So we'll also have a webinar on C3 coming up in May. Okay, and I'll show you the list of webinars we have coming up, and I'll show you where to find them on our website. So the next thing we're going to talk about is our Digital Watchdog online training, DW University. And first thing is we know, we kind of want to transition you to be able to reduce training time and learning obstacles and whatever. And so what we've done is we've organized this into a couple different levels. So first, when you do sign up for the online training, you'll be able to use our video modules, okay, which will walk you through learning each aspect of Spectrum, and it is very, very detailed, okay? We also have training scripts that are available for viewing or downloading for each of the video modules, okay? We also have the Digital Watchdog Spectrum Training Lab, okay, Digital Watchdog Training Lab. So at the completion of each video module, you'll be tasked with performing lab training scenarios, and you'll actually be using live Digital Watchdog Spectrum servers, okay, we have set up virtually, and you'll be able to build your confidence with Spectrum. And it's the best part of the thing because it allows you to go in and configure different stuff and see how Spectrum really behaves without having to set up a server. Now, that being said, the Digital Watchdog Spectrum software is downloadable directly from our website, and you can download the Windows version and the Linux version of the servers and the Windows, Mac, Linux version of the client, and create your own virtual server, or real server on a box that you have, at your location. And the next is the DW exam, okay? Once you've learned the different modules, we actually give you an exam, which will then, show your, validate your new digital watchdog spectrum skill, and you'll be a certified digital watchdog spectrum person, okay? So the virtual servers, I mean, this is basically how it's going to work. You're going to click Spectrum Server 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll go in, and we have these test cameras. You can go in, turn on and off recording. You can, create motion events, whatever you want to do inside these different views in there. And it's a live system on a virtual server with some virtual cameras on it to get you started. So what are the benefits of doing this? Okay, so benefits of studying online: doesn't take a technician offline for an entire day. Our current setup, we have to, of course, cancel them because of what's going on, is someone would go out to a hotel or somewhere, and we'd sit them down for 7 or 8 hours and go through the whole training with them. There's no travel costs and lower training costs in reality. They get to learn at their own pace. It's a little bit of more flexible environment. If they can only spend 35, 40 minutes a night, they can still go in and do it. It'll improve their technical skills. And for some companies, it'll help with career investment. I'm a digital watchdog spectrum certified, and when we add other modules to this, including hardware and other software, they can become certified with those things. We're adding new skills monthly, okay? So you'll see some new stuff added in there actually pretty shortly. There's also the DWU training portal, so you can do a progress status. So as a manager, you can watch the employee's progress. You can also have a little contest inside. The badges and points can be used for a type of competition, whether they just get a thumbs up, they get a little trophy, or they get a gift card or something like that when they complete it. It'll allow people to engage and at least compete with each other and have a little inter office or inter technician competition. So I like that. So how do you sign up? You go to our dwuniversity.digital-watchdog.com. There's also a link on our website for this, and you go in, click to sign up. You fill it out. It's by user. Cost is $129 per user on an annual subscription basis. You get access to the training portal for 12 months. So as we add stuff, they can go in and use that stuff. The actual certifications are 12 months, and you get access. I think you have to also be a member of our PIP program, access to the Digital Watchdog Technical Support Certified Dealer queue for certification, for the certification term, meaning you'll dial in, that phone number will be tied to that person, so it'll be like their mobile number, I would imagine, and they could dial in, and they'll get into our certified queue, which gets them right to the Spectrum NVR team. All right, we're doing an April promotion, so normally it's $129. When you get to the payment screen, there's a spot where you put in discount 50, and you get 50 off. So they'll be half off. Call it 2 for 1. Call it whatever you want. We're doing this because A, we launched it. B, we were launching this anyway, and then of course the whole thing came out where people couldn't travel, and so we just said we're going to just reduce the cost in order to let people to be trained on the stuff, because we're not going to be able to travel as easily as we once was for a little while. So let's talk a little bit about the Digital Watchdog website. All right. And what I'm going to do is was going to show you this video, but they don't render very well in GoToMeeting. They actually look a little distorted. So I'm just going to pause this, and we'll go over to look at our event view. Sorry. And then we'll go over to the Digital Watchdog website. So our website, we've changed some stuff around. You guys have been to our website. You've seen a few things. But if you go over to products, okay, we've got our Digital Watchdog C3 CMS, our Digital Watchdog Spectrum IP VMS. And now when you go to that page, you guys should, it's still rendering a little bit low. But anyway, we have a new web page that will allow you to go through the verticals, the features, the different server appliances, and then the edge. So if we scroll down the page, and I'm going to scroll slow, I tend to go fast, is the different features and benefits of Spectrum. 6 big reasons why use the digital watchdog Spectrum. Open architecture and cross-platform, already talked about it. Windows, Linux, Mac. We even support Raspberry Pi and those IoT devices. We also, built into every instance of Spectrum is the API and SDK, so people can actually write integrations to it without having to sign an NDA or consult a lawyer or any of that other stuff. It's built into every aspect of it. Those of you guys are familiar with it, I'm not going to go over it too much, but the interface is super easy to use and super easy for your end user to use. All right. Enterprise features are standard. There is only one version of Spectrum. Okay, there is not multi-versions of Spectrum. There's one version of Spectrum. You don't have a corporate version, professional version, and an enterprise version. So all the features are there. Part of an end-to-end solution. We have the servers. We have NAS storage if needed, and of course we have our Spectrum. Sorry, NAS storage. And of course we have our cameras. We have yet to charge for a software update, and scalable, 1 to thousands of devices. The one being a CAS camera or a small box running Spectrum. So you can go 1 camera to thousands of cameras, and we have installs out there in different verticals that there are thousands of cameras on site being managed by Digital Spectrum. And then this is where we talk about verticals, okay? And you can go into each of these and look at retail, construction, cannabis, and then down here we have technology partners. So these are people we either integrate with or have special features from. So ShotSpotter is gunshot detection. SureView, Vigilant, I think is LPR cameras, and you can go through and look at those. You can put your information in to schedule a demo, okay, and our local sales reps will get with you on doing a demo. We have the direct links to download the software from the different app stores, and of course to download the software from our website. So again, if I click here and we go to software, we've got all the versions, Linux version, Mac OS version, the different plugins, even slightly earlier versions. Okay, so you can go in here and do it. So again, the Spectrum webpage gives you a lot of information. So we went through features. We can talk a little bit about appliances and the servers. So again, scroll down here, kind of explains different servers. Some of them have dual power supply. Some of them have removable hot swappable drives. Most of them have dual networks. You can do RAID, USB mouse. Again, a small thing, but it did drive me nuts when I purchased a server recently and didn't come with the rail kit. So we ship ours with a rail kit. It seems like a small thing until you're actually mounting one. You're like, hey, where are the rails? And now over here is our storage, and we can go in here and learn more, and we can go and look at the different blackjacks, and then we can look at the products here. And we have this little scrolling bar, and it goes through the different versions of it, our E-racks, our P-racks, our minis, bolts, cubes, cube DLs, and you can go in and choose one saying, you know, I need something with storage, or I need something with RAID, but I don't want the most expensive thing with RAID, and so on. So you can go in and choose that way. Also, Edge is our page for our CAS camera, and it goes into a little more depth than even what I'm doing on how it works, how it allows you to work. But again, you know, the key to this is no server required. You plug in to a PoE switch, plug the corporate network into that switch, you merge those cameras together, you then take those cameras and point them to the cloud, and you'll have remote access to the system from the cloud. So again, built-in IPVMS, no need to worry about licensing. The licensing is baked in. You don't have to worry about purchasing any license. Very bandwidth conscious. So when we use up a lot of bandwidth on their networks, and with the 256 gig, you can get 30 days of retained video. It'll send notifications. It does every feature of Spectrum. If you did need extra storage, you can add a NAS to the switch. Okay, so it's not a server, it's just a box that's network attached storage that's easy to find the storage on the network. So if you did need, someone wanted 45 days of storage, 60 days of storage, 90 days of storage, you can add a NAS to the system and then point the system to the storage, and it'll use that as extra storage. And again, using the cloud, no need to open ports. You can either set it to auto update, which will then prompt you to say, do you want to update? Or you can turn that off so it won't sit there and nag you about it. Encrypted and secure, Spectrum creates secure connections and encrypt the video traffic between clients and servers. And also we have, as an added bonus, an Apple TV app. So you can actually view your system from an Apple TV. And by the way, this counts for our IP Plus and our, excuse me, and our A1 Plus, new products we have coming out in the line of that, and of course Spectrum. So if you have a site with 50 cameras, it actually goes up to 25 cameras on one screen. You can go through and do it. Oh, I've got someone with their hand raised. I'll answer questions in a few. There we go. All right, guys, I will answer. So I have a bunch of questions in here. I apologize. I will answer some questions at the very end, okay? So anyway, so we'll go through here. Remote monitoring via the cloud. You can do remote notifications. So you can go through a lot of different items in here. We go back to the main page. We also have our support tab. So there's a couple ways you can go. You can go down to remote technical support, technical bulletins, but actually if you just double click on it, it goes to our probably most valuable tool, which is our knowledge base, okay? So I can go in here and either look for the latest ones that have been posted and the most popular, or I can look at it by blackjack servers, okay, HD spots, encoders, IP cameras, or I can look up, CAAS and see I want to expand the storage on your blackjack server or megapixel CAS camera, EW Spectrum release notes. So we put everything on here. We create it as if we have a ticket, no one's seen it before, we take the ticket information, okay, and we put it on put it in the system, and they create a document on it. So we have tons of stuff that's being added every day, and we actually have a dedicated person that combs through the tickets, talk to the technicians, talk to the people in the field in order to get new things in here all the time. So this is being updated constantly. So one of the things I was going to talk about in a little bit is we'll talk about it in a second. So that's how you get to our support page. There's also, if we go back to the main page and we go to company and we go meet DW, we can go in and get a little bit of the story of Digital Watchdog, okay? So, talking about being a single source provider, where we operate, some of the things we've released and done in the past. So if you want to be more familiar with Digital Watchdog, you can actually go to this page and take a look at it. Go in here and contact someone, say, I want to know more about Digital Watchdog. We also have their section on IP solutions. And so you can go in here and say, I want to see my IP solutions, or I want to talk about HD over coax. And I can click over here and it'll go directly to that. All right. We also have a product selector on this page. So you can go and say, I want to just try to select some products. Come here, IP product selector. There we go. I want to choose some cameras. And you can see now it lists our cameras in no particular order. But then if I want to, I see I've got IP here. I've got cameras chosen. And then let's say I've got some certain features I want. So I want to see all my UL listed cameras. It'll then sort it by all the cameras that are UL listed. If I want, what's a good one people like to talk about? Okay, so license plate readers, license plate cameras. So we've got a couple license plate cameras on here and so on. So you can go in and choose multiple ones. and go through and view the site. So again, I think it's a pretty powerful tool. Our site is just, we improve it every day. I want to just say our marketing guys do a great job updating this. And like I said, we'll be adding more to it as time goes on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here, see if I can. Okay, we're going to skip this because we've already done this. And so next thing we want to talk about is about manufacturing compliance, okay? So all of our IP cameras, NVRs, DVRs, and coders sold in North America are made in South Korea, Vietnam, Taiwan, okay? We manufacture a bunch of products that are NDA and TAA compliant. That makes them eligible for GFA and schedule contracts, other opportunities, and also there's a whole bunch of money floating around because of the coronavirus for companies to keep going and stuff like that. And some of that money may be contingent on you doing it because you're now using government money to do it. And so this is actually in our knowledge base. You can type in NDAA at the top. And we have our digital watchdog, National Defense Authorization Compliance statement showing we are NDAA compliant. We're actually going to put a little badge on all the products that so far we've identified as NDAA compliant. All right, and go through it. So it's most of our cameras. There's one or two on here that we either haven't gotten a complete list of what's in them or something on there we just didn't like. Bullet cameras, dome cameras, ball cameras, panoramic cameras. Our NVRs are all on here. NAS, our workstation, our HD spots, our illuminators, because we make illuminators and what do you call it, motion detectors, are all on here. And we'll be adding to this very shortly. We're just really going through our bill of materials for each product and making sure there is nothing there that comes from a company that's on the NDAA list, including either Hikvision, Dahua, or Huawei. There's a few other ones on there, and we've also, just double checking and making sure so you guys can have confidence in that this product is NDAA compliant. Let me go backwards. There we go. So again, this is just going through our knowledge base. Again, type in NDAA in our knowledge base up on when you double click on the support, you'll be able to pull up that document, or just look through. If you ever had a question on a digital watchdog product, you go there, type it in. The answer may be there. Okay, like we have servers out there that've been out there for 3 or 4 years, or 5 years, may have Windows 7 in it, or may have an earlier version of Ubuntu Linux. We have the documentation that shows you how to upgrade it. So it also allows you to log in, track support tickets. As a problem with something arises and we have a solution for it, it gets added into the systems very quickly. Now we also have a DW Spectrum compatibility list. This one, again, is one of those things you type in the model number, type in the manufacturer, and if you look, this is actually old information. I think we're up to 7,900 now devices and 449 manufacturers on our compatibility list. And so you can go in, type in whatever manufacturer you want, or I don't know what a Winnick is, but you click on that and you type, or you'll see a list of them, or you type in a model number, and if it's in here, it'll come up. It'll tell you if the audio works. It'll tell you if it's on this compliant. It'll tell you actually if it has two-way audio. Okay, some cameras have one-way audio, some cameras have two-way audio. What frame rate and what resolution it'll go up to. Webinars. Let's just talk really quickly about webinars.